You are listening to The Asian Lens, insights from across the world's most dynamic region decoded from Tokyo. As I sit this morning in my office in Meguro, watching the soft winter light pass over the Tokyo skyline, I'm reminded of something my mother, a mathematics teacher, often told me. Numbers are quiet, but they speak when you listen carefully. That idea has shaped my work for decades, from my early research at Keio University to my years as an economist in Singapore, Seoul, and here in Japan. Today, as your correspondent from Asia, I'd like to take you on a journey through a region where technology, society, and economics move in synchronous rhythm, sometimes gently, sometimes with seismic force. And like in Shodo, the art of calligraphy I practice to clear my mind, each stroke of data reveals intention, direction, and meaning. From Tokyo's perspective, Asia in 2025 is both familiar and profoundly new. We see an economic landscape where innovation is no longer an isolated industry, but a shared language between nations. Look, for example, at the way artificial intelligence has become a foundational layer of industrial policy across East Asia. Japan investing heavily in robotics and elderly care automation, South Korea pushing aggressively towards software-defined vehicles, and China accelerating its own AI ecosystems despite geopolitical friction. Let's look at what the data tells us. Across the Asia-Pacific, national digital transformation budgets have grown between 8 and 15% this year, and private sector R&D investment has reached record highs, more than 3.5% of GDP in Japan and close to 5% in South Korea. Numbers like these are not simply metrics. They are commitments to a technological future the region intends to co-author. Behind every figure, though, we find a story of people adapting to change. When I speak with young engineers in Tokyo or data science students I mentor on weekends, they describe a sense of opportunity, but also uncertainty. In Japan, demographic pressures have made productivity not just an economic goal, but a national necessity. That is why robotics patents grew by more than 12% last year, and why Japan now leads the world in industrial automation density, with over 400 robots per 10,000 workers. Technology connects logic with emotion, and Japan speaks both fluently. These students see robots not as replacements, but as partners in a society that must care for more seniors than at any point in its history. Meanwhile, across the Sea of Japan, South Korea is charting its own course. Korea's exports have rebounded strongly on the strength of AI-related semiconductors and next-generation batteries. At the same time, domestic challenges, from volatile energy prices to shifts in global supply chains, are reshaping national priorities. Yet what stands out to me when I walk through Seoul's technology districts is the intense optimism. Korean firms are pouring investment into electric vehicle platforms, autonomous driving, and advanced materials. From January to September, R&D spending in mobility technologies rose nearly 14%. It's a reminder that in Asia, innovation is never passive. It is a deliberate act of resilience. China, of course, continues to influence the region's economic rhythm. While growth has slowed from its historical peak, China remains the world's largest market for solar technology, EV batteries, and renewable energy infrastructure. The latest data shows that China installed more than 210 gigawatts of solar capacity last year, more than the next 10 countries combined. For Asian supply chains, this is both an opportunity and a strategic dependency. When I speak with Japanese and Korean manufacturers, they tell me the same thing. To compete globally, we must innovate locally. That is why we see a surge in cross-border research partnerships, particularly in energy storage, AI-enabled manufacturing, and specialty semiconductors. But technological transformation also returns us to a human question. How do societies maintain balance in periods of rapid change? In Japan, I often think of this during my early morning walks through Yoyogi Park. Silence helps me listen to data more clearly. but it also helps me sense the shifts beneath the surface of our economy. Japan is now entering what economists call a super-aging society, with more than 30% of the population over 65 by 2030. Yet rather than viewing this as decline, Japan is using it as a catalyst for reinvention. The care tech industry is expected to grow to nearly $30 billion within 5 years. AI monitoring tools, mobility assist robots, and new telemedicine platforms are emerging not out of abstract innovation, but out of real human need. Across the wider region, sustainability has become another defining theme. Asia produces more than half of the world's CO2 emissions, but it also leads in renewable energy deployment. In 2025, Japan and Korea both expanded their offshore wind initiatives, while Taiwan, Vietnam, and Indonesia accelerated solar and grid modernization programs. For the first time, Asia's clean energy investment surpassed $600 billion annually. This shift is especially meaningful for a region historically dependent on imported fossil fuels. And it has geopolitical implications. Nations that master battery technology, hydrogen supply chains, and flexible power grids will shape the next era of industrial competitiveness. From Tokyo's vantage point, one of the most fascinating developments is the quiet but powerful reconfiguration of global supply chains. Companies are no longer simply pursuing cost efficiency. They are optimizing for security, proximity, and technological sovereignty. Japan's corporate surveys show that nearly 40% of manufacturers are diversifying production into Southeast Asia, while still keeping high-value R&D and precision manufacturing at home. This dual structure, scale abroad, specialization domestically, is becoming the new paradigm. I sometimes describe it as industrial calligraphy. The broad strokes occur across borders, but the fine detail is still drawn in places with deep technical heritage. And what about the global context? The interplay between Asia, Europe, and North America is more delicate than ever. Trade relationships are shifting, export controls are tightening, and technological alliances are forming around AI, quantum computing, and cybersecurity. Yet despite these tensions, cooperation remains essential, particularly in climate technology and digital safety. When I worked with the Asian Development Bank, I often saw that shared problems create shared purpose. Whether it is aging societies, energy transition, or the ethical use of AI, no region can navigate these challenges alone. As we conclude, let me share one final reflection. In my home, my family and I often cook together, simple fusion dishes that mix Japanese tradition with European notes my daughter enjoys. To me, this small ritual mirrors the larger story of Asia today. Continuity and reinvention coexist. The region is not just adapting to global trends, it is actively shaping them. And as we look toward the next decade, I believe Asia will continue to serve as a bridge between innovation and humanity. So wherever you are listening from, Europe, America, or elsewhere in Asia, I hope this glimpse from Tokyo has offered clarity, a bit of calm, and perhaps a spark of curiosity. After all, understanding is a form of connection, and my mission, as always, is to build those connections through insight. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, arigato gozaimasu. Thanks for listening to The Asian Lens. For more details, sources, and related insights, please visit the show notes. By the way, I am entirely AI-generated. My voice was created with 11 Labs, and I'm here to bring you curated perspectives with clarity and respect for the diversity of Asia. This podcast is powered by Info Broker World, your partner for market intelligence and global research across the Asia-Pacific region. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep an open mind. Matane, see you soon.